My name is Marmalade and welcome back to Behind the Seams. And can you believe it, we are already at episode 7 of series 7 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK. And we're back together again to have a look at what the girls wore this week on the runway. We've had a few runways now and I really feel like the girls have established their aesthetics and their drag. So I feel like this is the point now where they can start surprising us. And I feel like this is always when you get those really exciting outfits. Outfits that come to mind are like Bimini's Bacteria outfit or Blue Hydrangea's Eyeball outfit or my gramophone outfit. Sort of things you might not have expected to see but are really cool. And it's always this point where I have a preconceived idea of the girls that I get the most excited about what they're going to bring. So I think we should get into it. This week's runway theme is a little bit kooky. It is Christmas randomly. But you know what? It's Drag Race, so why the hell not? My name is Marmalade. This is RuPaul's Drag Race UK Series 7, Episode 7. And come with me as I take you behind the scenes. So as I mentioned, the theme is Christmas. Now they've had Halloween themes, they've had springtime themes, so I guess sort of a wintry Christmas theme does make sense. I don't quite know why for this challenge or for at this point in the competition. I guess they could have waited a little bit later in the season, but hey, the challenge has been presented, so here we are. And what I'm expecting from this category, it really varies by queen. I think people like Bones and Paige are going to do much more of a fashion-y, abstract interpretation of Christmas and winter, whereas people like Bonnie and Katrin, I'm sort of expecting to have a more of an on-the-nose, camp, costumey sort of a reference. All of which are valid, so I'm very interested to see what the girls pull out. And with all of that said, let's get to the first queen of this runway, which is Vosque. And Vosque has come out in this, it's sort of a mixture of a candy cane meets Christmas wrapping ribbon sort of an outfit. I will say I think this category is deceptively difficult, and I think Elle has done a very successful job of channeling this theme through her drag. I love the idea of the bows and the ribbon. I think it feels very Elle. And I enjoy the overall impact. I really got the sense of the theme when she came out. And I think for her package, again, it's nice to see a different silhouette on Elle. I will say about this look, when she first came out, I did struggle to see the shape of the silhouette. Like I said, I love these ribbons and I love the way they sort of hit at different levels on her thigh. But I think it's the way they've been constructed. They're rather thick and slightly too high up. So you kind of lose the sense of her shape, especially the side from which they're sort of coming from the bow. Also, I don't think these ribbons have been cut on the bias. And what I mean by that is most fabrics have a stretch when you cut your panels diagonal to the grain of the fabric, and that can be very useful because it helps your fabric naturally mold to the curves of your body, and I can tell these bits of fabric have not been cut like that. So they just, as they sort of bend over the hip, they just sort of awkwardly sort of bend. It's not like a smooth curve. Also, I like that she's gone for the stripe effect on the ribbon. I would like the red stripes to be the same proportion as the white stripes, just the same thickness, so it really felt more candy cane. I love the effect of this ribbon wrapped around her arm. That's actually deceptively difficult to do because you have to make sure it's structured in a way that it holds its shape by itself. The candy cane prop I would have lost. I'm pretty sure that is just a Christmas decoration that she's picked up. I like the hair. Something I don't quite enjoy is she's put these crystals along the sides of her hair. My guess is that maybe the wig was a little bit small, so that's to hide any of the out of drag hair that's poking through. But it's sort of distracting and it sort of widens the face in a slightly strange way. She's also got a striped white and red earring. However, I would say the proportion of the pattern on it is just too small for the rest of the outfit, so I would have just gone for a red earring there. And the bow in the hair, she's got all this interesting texture going on in the outfit. I think that's just additional texture that isn't needed. I would have just done a bow that sort of mirrored the bow she has on her shoulder. This bow in her hair is like a new idea that she's sort of adding into an already busy outfit. So I do enjoy it. I love the cut of the dress, and I love that we are getting to see a different silhouette, but it isn't my favourite. It isn't my favourite, but I think it is perfectly serviceable for the category. A strong, safe look from Elle this week. And Elle is wearing Call Me Sophia. Next to the runway, we have Selecta Addiction, and Selecta is wearing an outfit by Thistle Thing. And what I'm getting from this outfit is, like, you know the Grinch, the wife of the town mayor? I can't remember her name, but she's giving me that in blue, which I really love. I think it's a great choice for the category, and I think it's a great choice for Selecta specifically. I love the shape of this collar round. I love it. Feels like effortless in how it's been structured. The proportions of the outfit are very nice and they suit her nicely. I love that bow with the tails that are like dragging behind her. And I love this wig. It's a slightly like vintage style, which I wouldn't associate with Selecta normally, so I'm really enjoying it on her. A major issue I had with this outfit was the fact that her nipple was out for the entire runway. I think there is something in the construction of the bodice that maybe needed work, or maybe these weren't the boobs that she was wearing when she had the fittings. But for me, if you're going to have such like a curvaceous form, your clothes really need to be built to sort of fit that form, because no one wants to see you like pulling up your outfit. I love the reveal of the coal when she got to the end. I thought that was really clever. It looks like in the collar behind her head she has other presents back there, and I think it's meant to be like a Santa's sack idea. I really enjoyed that as a concept. However, it's just a little bit too low down, so you don't really see it. I feel like I need that collar to be much, much bigger so that we can really get a sense of all those presents. I like the fur around the collar, however, she has these like fur cuffs on, and there's something about the fur there that just looks shorter and less substantial, and it just looks a little bit like an old carpet that she's wrapped around her wrist. So I don't enjoy that, and I actually don't think it adds anything to the runway, so I would have just left those off. I don't love the shoe, and that you can see a sort of like webbed toe foot from her tights. The hair and like the dress have like a sophistication that a plain pump would have suited. The dress itself, I love the treatment to the fabric and the texture. It isn't the most exciting dress in the world, but I do enjoy it, and I love the shape that it gives her. Another thing I will say is I feel like I have seen Selecta in this silhouette quite a bit, so I just hope that we are going to continue to get some other silhouettes. For example, what she wore for the oversized runway, that was such a breath of fresh air for her. I hope she has more moments like that going forward throughout the series. But apart from that, I think it is a very strong, elevated look for Selecta Addiction. Next up, we have Bonnie and Clyde, and Bonnie is wearing an outfit by Queen Mia Gold, and like the name suggests, she has gone for this gorgeous gold outfit. I imagine the reference was like the fairy on top of the Christmas tree, and I'm really getting like a vintage Christmas reference here that I can't quite put my finger on it. There is like a nostalgic feeling about this. I'm loving this sort of gold lame fabric that she's gone for. I think it works very well on camera. I enjoy that it's all like one tone, and it feels like a very elevated, winning look for Bonnie. I will say that it doesn't feel like the most inventive outfit in the world. Whilst I do see why she chose this for a Christmas theme, it doesn't feel like Christmassy enough to say this is what I brought for this runway category. I love the draping off the shoulder and then the opposite hip, and whilst I do enjoy the trim on the end of it, the trim is heavier than the body of the fabric, which isn't a big issue, but I just noticed as she was swinging it, it didn't flow and flutter in the way that this sort of a fabric could. It felt a bit weighted down, so it just looked like a bit heavy as it was all swinging as one together, instead of it sort of cascading around. She looks very polished and very put together. It does, however, feel like a very wonderful outfit she's made in a design challenge. That's the sort of sense I got from this. Like, she had brought her patterns and she went, I'm going to do this. I've practiced this one at home. I'm going to make this. So it is a successful outfit. She looks gorgeous. She looks really put together. I just wish I could have had a bigger punch as far as it being like a Christmas themed runway. And yeah, it looks like an outfit she would wear for like a lip sync. So I can't say I don't enjoy it because she does look great. I just want a bigger punch. That's all. Yeah, I think I made my point. I love it. It's cute. It's just not the most impactful. So next up we have Tayris, and Tayris is wearing a burlesque-inspired snowflake outfit made for her by Trashy Planet. And Tayris is definitely dipping into some of my references here, and I really enjoy those references. What really stands out is this headpiece. I think it's really impressive and really impactful. I love that it sort of has icicles dripping from it. It had some movement when she walked, which I always enjoy. And I like the way the cap was embellished as well. The outfit itself, I really love the tones of it. And I love the idea of like this Christmas Radio City musical, Rockette, Ziegfeld Follies sort of showgirl idea. I think that's really great. She also had these like drips that were sort of coming up from the bust and like coming out like at a few points. I really enjoyed that. Any way you can add sort of like movement into what is otherwise quite a static outfit, I typically really respond to. So I enjoyed all the fringe and those embellishments. I did enjoy the embellishment of the corset. I would say I just wish it had some more rhinestones. When you sort of zoomed in, you could sort of count them. And with an outfit like this, I just want it to be so encrusted. And yeah, it just felt a little bit bare as far as the rhinestoning is concerned. A few other things. The glove I don't love. It looks like an Amazon like opera length glove that she'd ordered, covered the top in fur and then rhinestoned. I think with a custom outfit you could have easily had a custom glove that came up a lot higher. The pant on this outfit I'm having a real issue with. It kind of just looks like a rectangle that's been like gathered at the crotch. It doesn't look like it's been cut out and shaped around like her leg and her thigh. So that's something I'm having a slight issue with. It looks a little bit like a nappy. The shoe she's wearing I don't love. It's slightly too dark of a blue. The shape on the hip is fun. The fur just doesn't have the volume that I want it to have, but I like the shape of it. Another thing I noticed, I don't think this corset fits her correctly. When she turned around, so on the back of a corset you have a modesty panel, which is a bit of matching fabric that goes behind the lacing, so that even if the corset doesn't lace all the way up, you're covered all the way around. However, I noticed she had a modesty panel, but there was like a thin strip of skin just next to it, which sort of tells me that the corset wasn't the correct size for her to begin with. I'm not sure if the corset was custom made for her or if it was a pre-existing corset that was embellished, but I just would have liked to not have seen that skin when she turned around. Also, I know I say it every week, the necklace I don't love. I think a necklace could have worked with this outfit. I just think it's a little bit too small with the little like crystal, and the proportions just don't work for this outfit for me. I think either a bigger necklace or no necklace at all. But overall, I will say I really do enjoy this outfit. I think it is a fun way to go. Again, it feels like a not so literal Christmas reference, which is I think always smart for this runway. And I'll just say, Tayris looks absolutely drop dead gorgeous on this runway. I love the hair and I love the makeup on her this week. So yes, overall, a very, very good job from Tayris this week. Next up, we have Paige Three, and Paige Three is wearing an outfit by Joshua Hansler and Antidote Latex, and she is the first of two nutcrackers we got this week. However, she has very smartly turned it on its head a bit and gone for like this BDSM fetish nutcracker man. I will start this by saying I really enjoy this. What really struck me straight away was the hair, the makeup and the mustache. There's something so unbelievably chic about that one curl that covers her eye, the hat that sort of covers here, and then this really cool thick like mustache. I love how it sort of just like hides her face. I think it is really smart and really cool for this runway, and it just makes it feel really high fashion. I really enjoy the use of the black and the red. It is a sort of a colour scheme that nobody else thought to do, and I think that is very smart for this runway. I love the chains on it as well. I love the red sort of like waistband, and I love the sort of the stockings and where they hit on the leg. You know, I was gonna say that I wanted like a sexier cut of the pant, but looking at it now, I actually really enjoy the cut of it. There's something about it that sort of fits with the idea of like this soldier's uniform, I guess. I love the fringe hanging from the epaulets. I will say the fringe is a little bit too long for me. And I think what would have solved it is if the epaulets were more pronounced and more like protruded. I think that length would have suited better then. But I think I just would have cropped a little bit of that fringe. It's like all latex, but she's wearing this shirt that almost looks like a regular dress shirt with like rhinestoning trim down the front. And I noticed the shirt sleeve sort of stopped at the elbow, which I thought was like a slightly strange place for that to stop. The shirt I don't mind, it just feels very visible for something that isn't the interesting part of the outfit, if that makes sense. I just wish it was covered a bit more because I don't want to see it as much as I want to see all the gorgeous latex work. However, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the stick she came out with. It was a little bit wobbly. I feel like it was maybe a plastic, whereas like a metal or a wood would have suited better. I love the hat. I love the ostrich feather on top of the hat, and I love the crystal detail across the front. And I love this like gigantic door knocker she's got on her neck. I think that's fab. And of course, I love the naughty list. That was a fun reference back to the theme. But overall, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoy it for Paige. I feel like Paige has been so successful every week of showing different sides of her drag while still keeping that through line throughout it. I get it's again another sort of pant cut sort of outfit, which she has been critiqued for. However, I feel like the rest of the outfits and the rest of the silhouettes of her outfits are so interesting and different and experimental that I can forgive that aspect of it. It doesn't bother me. Like I said, I think there are other people who are far more guilty of repeating silhouettes than Paige. So well done, Paige. I am so annoyed we won't be seeing your outfits next week, but I have enjoyed almost everything you have worn this season, so congratulations, darling. Mwah. Oh, I've got a message from Tia. Hang on. Hi babe, just to let you know, I'm recording behind the scenes. You are live on the YouTube, and by live, I mean pre-recorded. Basically, Tia's asking if I can make her an outfit very quick. Comment down below if I should make Tia an outfit. Wonderful. I will get back to you with the answer in a couple of days. Okay, love you. Anyway, let's end that conversation and get back to where we were. So next up, we have the gorgeous Bones. Bones is wearing an outfit by Seam Adamson Design and Dee Delicious, who made the coat. And Bones, I think she said she was going for like the mother on Christmas morning, coming down the stairs to unwrap like the presents with her child. And straight away, I thought this was a really fun interpretation of the theme, and a really fun interpretation for Bones. It's got to be said, she looks so gorgeous. I love the coat, I love the wizard sleeve, I love the train of it. I think Dee Dee has done a fabulous job on this coat. Even like the really thick collar, I think is gorgeous, so I really enjoy that. I also really enjoy this dress, especially when she took the coat off in the lip sync and you saw all of the lace detailing on the sleeve. I thought that was gorgeous. It doesn't feel like a typical floor-length sort of lace dress, which sometimes has a tendency to read a little bit old, so I love the way she's done this. One thing that really stuck out for me was she has this really thick brown belt. I really didn't understand that as a choice. I think it's just like the wrong colour and the wrong size, and it's sort of not in keeping with the rest of the style of the outfit. There's a slight sleepwear quality to the rest of the clothing that this belt just doesn't match, and it jumped out at me straight away. Also, I've noticed she's sort of done buttons down the front of this dress. I don't know if that was to maybe try and be more in keeping with the theme, but I don't think it needs it. And I thought the teddy bear was really cute. I think maybe just like a bigger teddy or some way to sort of drag it up. She feels very grande dame in this outfit, which is very Bones and is very in keeping with her for this category. I think Bones was one of the people where I thought, Christmas? what is a Christmas look going to look like from Bones? Because I imagine her to be quite gothic, so it just didn't feel like her runway theme. So I really enjoyed this interpretation of it. I think it's mainly the styling on this one that I would slightly want to alter and improve, because the garments themselves I think are really beautiful, and that like shade of green that's been matched perfectly from the dress to the overcoat, I really love. I would say a very strong week for Bones, especially given I wouldn't say this was a runway category that was particularly in her wheelhouse. Very impressive. Well done, Bones. And finally to the runway, we have Katrin Feelings. And Katrin is wearing an outfit by Danny Does Drag with some assistance from Nutty Threads. And Katrin has also gone with this Nutcracker theme. Whereas Katrin has gone for a slightly more literal interpretation of the Nutcracker, which does make sense with her drag. And I've got to say, this felt like a really fun direction for Katrin. Something Michelle said is that she said it was like a bit costumey, which I just thought was wild considering the runway theme was Christmas. I feel like if ever there was going to be a costume, it would be for this runway, especially for someone like Katrin who does sort of campy, costumey drag. So that was a bit of a strange critique for me. This outfit overall, whilst I don't mind the costumey element, I think I just want to big up some of the proportions a little bit. Again, like Paige's, I want bigger epaulets. I want this skirt to stick out more if she's gonna do a skirt silhouette. The stick she had felt a little bit small, so I just wish that was larger. Something I also noticed, I love the hair. I don't know if it's because of how she's transported it, but it looks just a little bit frizzy towards the end, but I think that's maybe just how she's got it out of the box. I like the boot covers. I wish she had gone for actual black boots. I think that would have just elevated it a little bit more. Now the makeup, I can tell for a fact this is the first time she's done that makeup. I think she's done those cheeks. What she's done is she's painted the bottom of her foundation bottle red, and then she's stamped her cheek. However, it's just slightly in the wrong place and it's slightly too big and it's a little bit faded. So the makeup isn't my favourite. I will say I don't think it is Katrin's strongest look. Like I said, whilst I don't mind the costume aspect, it is just slightly expected from Katrin. And coming back to what I was saying at the beginning of the episode, this is the point where you really start to see people taking risks. And I am slightly waiting on that a little bit from Katrin. Everything does feel slightly predictable. It feels like a perfectly fine, inoffensive runway, but it doesn't wow me. I feel like the challenge is really where you find out whether you're going to win or lose the badge, and then the runway is the thing that's sort of does this add to that or does this subtract to that? And what I'll say about this outfit is that it doesn't feel like it adds to the success of her challenge performance. And that has very nicely brought us to the end of yet another episode of Behind the Seams. Now, I've got to say, Christmas is a slightly difficult runway theme if your idea is to be really chic and high fashion. So I will commend the girls for giving it their best shot. And I will say there were certainly a fair few successful interpretations of the theme and even some slight surprises. So I always appreciate that. Okay, so next week is the makeover challenge, which I'm very excited for. Of course, the challenge I infamously won. We'll be back to critiquing 12 outfits, which is very fun. As always, please make sure to like, comment and subscribe. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Who was your favourite this week? Who was your least favourite this week? Be nice when you're critiquing people, no being nasty, but let me know if there's anybody you didn't like. And yeah, sound off below, let's have a discussion about it. Whilst I have your attention, I would love to shamelessly plug my show, Spotlight. It's a show I started here in Cardiff at the start of the year with the aim of spotlighting drag and queer performers that I love and that I want to see on stage. And we've had great success in Cardiff, but now we're taking it around the UK, starting off with Manchester in January. So on January 23rd, we are at Hope Mill Theatre. It will be me, it'll be the incredible Vil, we will have the Vicar's Daughter, and we will have Layla Navabi. I will pop the ticket link below, so please get your tickets. I would love to see you there. If you love what you're seeing here, imagine this. on stage for 2 hours, actually doing something as opposed to sat on a sofa slagging people off. And yes, it's a show unlike anything I've done before. I'm very, very proud of it, and I would love for you to come and see it. So please, get your tickets. Anyway, now that we've taken care of business, I have been Marmalade. Thank you so much for watching Behind the Scenes this week. Like I said, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you back here, same time, same place, next week for episode 8. But until then, don't run with scissors, and bye-bye. Or don't scissor when you have the runs. Sorry.
Please cut that in right at the end.
I will not keep that in the edit.
No, play the outro and then just play it. Just that little clip right at the end, and then end the episode.
I'll cut that out. Or don't scissor when you have the runs.